Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to NFT ART TALK Live. We are so excited to have you here today for another very special episode with a wonderful interview with a wonderful individual. We're so excited to have you here today. If you're new to the channel, we want to welcome you to our community of acceptance and celebration, where we are here to do the NFT art scene in a new way. We're trying to change up the experience. We're talking about music, art, fashion, culture. We're talking to creators. We're going to the metaverse. We're doing everything that we possibly can. And we're here daily on YouTube and Twitter streaming live. That's what we're here to do. So we want to welcome you guys in. While you're here, we don't want you to forget, please like and subscribe. If you're here on YouTube, like this video, subscribe to the channel, click that notification bell. If you're watching on Twitter, don't forget to like the post, retweet it, and follow the channel later. Again, we are so excited to have you guys here. If you haven't met us before, my name is Moshe, aka DJ Fetus. We got Cardic NFT in all the places. And I want to welcome and introduce you guys to Bases Music in all the spaces and places. What's up, guys? How you doing, man? How you doing?
What's good? What's good, y'all? Good to see you all in the flesh.
For real, I feel like we're always in like a Twitter space or something and we don't get to like show our faces, so I'm so excited to be here with you in this place too. And I'm excited to dive in to more about you, because I always feel like you're facilitating some conversation about someone else, or for someone. So and you know, we absolutely love you for it. But yeah, man, I'm so excited to have you here and to like just pump, man. I've been looking forward to this all day.
Absolutely, man. Yes, it's a pleasure to speak with you live. I definitely enjoy watching the NFT art talk. Definitely enjoy all the Twitter spaces, conversations like that. And yeah, just think you guys are building a really great community and putting out really great content. So appreciate you all very much. And you're dope artists yourself. So yeah, much love. Thank you for having me.
For sure, man. We're glad to see you finally, dude. We always just play music in spaces and talk about just stuff. So it's kind of cool to actually see your face and then actually communicate and hear your whole story about what's kind of inspired you, man. So I'm really looking forward to this next 30 minutes, hour. We're talking about what's going on in your life and how you're creating.
Thank you, Cardic. Yeah, likewise, man. Yeah, definitely love all the music and visuals I see coming from you, and yeah, just always enjoy your commentary and notes. So excited to talk more, man.
Bro, I literally can't stop smiling right now, just like seeing like this happening. What's up, Fab? Fab hanging out, another good friend in the spaces. He's pretty pumped to see you here. We're excited to have you in here. Yeah, and we want to invite anybody watching at home. If you have any question for Bases as we dive in here, or anything for us, let us know. If you like anything, we'll remind you once we get into the portion where we're looking at links. All the links are in the description below. Everything that you need to join Base's amazing community of just pushing awesome stuff all the time. I'm being broad, but let's dive in, man. Let's dive in.
Yeah, that's dope. No, that's good.
Tell us about yourself, man. Like we want to, we really like to start with just like, we're focused on art. We're in the artists that inspire us, right? So, we like to know, like, where did it all begin for you? Like, what's your journey? Where did your journey with art begin?
Wow, that's a good question. My journey with art, I guess it probably started when I was like 5 or 6, and I started understanding patterns, playing drums on pots and pans. When I was, I think, 7 or 8 years old, we started playing the recorder, that we all play. And we would have music class, and I loved it. And then in 4th grade, we had a teacher. Her name was Mrs. Birdsong. I don't know if I think that's her real name, but she was a widow, and she was just like this amazing human. And in 4th grade, the first hour of every day, we would sing and play music. So she would play her acoustic guitar. We would play a whole range of songs, and that really stuck with me. And then I started playing trumpet in middle school. When I got to high school, I kind of had to decide between sports and music because they were both after school. So I chose sports. I played football and baseball all through high school. And I played guitar and drums, but more casually in high school. So when I went to school, I studied film. I got my bachelor's degree in film, and I've built a career in film and advertising, creative agency, creative director. Really started that really professionally like 2008, 2009. So for about 12 years, I've been doing that, mostly in San Francisco, and Oakland is, where the agencies that I've worked at. So I've worked at a lot of different agencies. My good friend Fabian and I, we grew up together. He studied animation. I studied film. So when we were both in San Francisco together, we linked up, we were friends. We created a creative agency. So that was called Bloom Studios. And it was a dream, man. No one really took us seriously. And we did it. We built an agency. We were eventually acquired 3 years later by another agency. So that's where I was working for 6 years. So that's kind of like my whole professional career. And Basis is like the antithesis of that. It's kind of like me finding liberation and a platform for me to express myself. With film and advertising, it's awesome, but it's a lot of people coming together. So you're relying on contracts, locations, actors, all these different creative opinions, and I'm not with that. I just like dopeness, and I believe in myself. And so yeah, I started. Basis is like the my culmination of these disciplines. So I started Basis, released the first album in 2020. Before I was minting NFTs, I worked on it for several years. And yeah, I wrote all of the music and did visualizers, all animated visualizers. So as I started getting into NFTs, I knew about cryptocurrency for several years, 2017, 2018. And once I saw NFTs were here to stay, like Tom Brady creating his autograph company, when I saw that, I was like, all right, like this isn't going anywhere, And I'm all about like demonstrating by doing. So my main thing for being here is showing other Web2 artists like this is the future and getting a piece of that pie back to the creators. So there's a lot of narratives and thoughts about what NFTs are, and I just do it. I don't talk about it. I just do it. And I've met so many amazing artists, and it's so inspiring and fulfilling. It's how we got connected, and yeah, that brings me to like today, where I am today. Yeah.
I had a quick question, man. When you're like a little kid banging on pots, like, did you have family members that were into music at all, or was that just something internal that you kind of felt and you were just doing it, and it kind of just led you down the path you're kind of talking about?
Thank you for asking. It's like we don't have a specific like music background as a family. My father though is he likes to dance and sing, and I think I kind of like have that from him in a way. Um, but yeah, I'm kind of like one of the only musicians from our family, which is interesting. Um, my family are most I come from a very humble beginnings. Most of my family are like carpenters or electricians. So I think that's kind of how the way they express themselves. I think my dad found a way to express himself through building. So yeah, they're a huge inspiration, but I'm kind of like the first one making music. Yeah.
That's real cool, man. My parents are real humble too, and they've found their own passions within their own works of line. But I think it's just fortunate when you are able to do music and then kind of see how it's reflected in your family. So I appreciate you telling us that story.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, I think also something that stuck out is like, I'm just here for the dopeness. You know what I mean? I feel the same way. Like, I know kind of before the show, before we went live, we were talking about like some of our like just Cardic and I's previous life and history and how we got to where we are. And it does have like this professional establishment involved in it. And when you have that perspective on a creative outlet, right? So like you said, like even though it can be a little hectic and like making ads and doing all that, but you're using videos, you're using sounds, you're using graphics to like portray a point across to someone. And it's interesting to be able to be blessed enough to have both perspectives. That's where I'm going with it. So to be able to see like, this is how people make art a business, and then this is how like I can use art as a form of like expression for myself, like what I need or what I think is dope. And then to get to the point where you're like, all right, I'm just doing stuff because I want to make something tight. You know what I mean? Like that's where I'm at. Like I saw all this. This is where I'm at now. You know what I mean? And like I can totally relate. Like that's what makes it fun, you know? And that's what, like, I know we talk about this a lot because we're, like you said, we're oftentimes like talking, or we said at the beginning, we're oftentimes talking in Twitter spaces, right? And but like I think that's a blessing of the creativity, is it's like, and then what part of what I love about your music and your art, it's like I can listen to it, I can look at it, and I can be kind of like transported to this place, or I can, you know, have a positive moment, you know, and share when you had a positive moment, whatever inspired you for that, without it being the same moment, you know. But it takes, that's why it's so interesting to hear about like your whole, like Kartik was saying, like from your childhood, and the way, you know, when we're like, okay, where did it start, and you're like, well, this is where I choose to start my story, you know.
Yeah,
And how it takes you with that journey, man.
for sure. Yeah, it's a blessing, man. I don't ever take it lightly. Like I said, I like in college and high school growing up, I used to get up at 5 in the morning, build on, stand on top of roofs and fucking lay down roof and crawl under houses. And so I know that side of a living. And so every day that I wake up and I drink coffee and I'm like with my dog and I'm like on emails, I'm always very, very aware of that. It's probably a lot of how my personality comes out, I think, from the beginning that I've had, I guess. But lots of folks are from a very similar situation, or even more challenging. So yeah, I think a lot of it is self-confidence and having like, it took me some time to, even saying this right now, it took me time to recognize that I was a visionary. I think that growing up, I always felt loved and supported by my family, but to speak very transparently, like by society, I always felt like I wasn't allowed. I wasn't supposed to be dope. I wasn't supposed to be a visionary. I wasn't supposed to be this really amazing artist for whatever reason. And a lot of that is probably myself putting that on myself. So as I started to build confidence and have success, and I always, as a filmmaker, like to be behind the camera. So NFTs have been good for me to kind of like shift that perspective and have to allow myself to be forward facing. And sometimes we're carrying so much with us that you just have to allow people to assume whatever they want to assume, because people are going to make their own judgments. It's kind of similar with creative agency. It's like when you're in a hyper competitive creative agency, it's like people may not even know that they're subconsciously trying to push your idea away, because art is subjective, everything is subjective. So it really comes down to opinion. So you get like 8 people in a room and they're all talking about an opinion, and they're not really even focused on the best product. They're focused on their personal outcome and like their success. And so that's a lot of what I've slowly been able to like recognize and push myself away. So like these conversations are the complete opposite. Being in Web3 is the complete opposite. Like we go into your music space and we sit there and people listen to my music for 4 minutes. Like that does not happen. Like even when you send your friend a song, they're probably going to play it for 30 seconds on their iPhone. It's all love. It's all love. But it's like, that's such a fucking blessing, dude. I'm sorry. Such a blessing.
Cursing welcome, dude. This video is not made for kids. Yeah.
Around you guys, and women, all the women and men, and just follow the energy, man, and believe in yourself, and don't let anyone tell you how dope you are. Like believe in yourself and find people who will celebrate your success, because it's very interesting to see when you're successful how people treat you differently. And when you're not doing so well, people reach out to you like, hey, what's going on? Let me get your help. And then when you start doing dope shit, they're not there engaging as much and talking to you. And it's, again, you have to show love. We have to turn the other cheek. But I think there's that's a very interesting dynamic. As artists, we're kind of innately narcissistic in a way. So we have to be very self-aware, find ways to relate, celebrate others' success. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel about that whole environment from Web3 and creative agency.
Hey, yeah, man. I've been in boardrooms. I've been around people who talk a lot, and it's fine, you know. But as an artist, you always come to this point where you're just like, yo, I want to actually create something, and then let that be what it is. I know every artist faces that thing, like, what are other people gonna think? But I know over time, what I've realized, I think most just realize this, and anybody who's like done a lot of art realizes, is like you look over that time and you actually look back and be like, who are the people who actually did it, right? So then you understand just a consistency of like doing it every day. There's like no real magic behind it other than are you taking your time to do it, right? Because then you look back and you look at those people who did it and you're like, oh, I know what that person's about. They're doing it every day of their life. So I don't know, like you're saying, approaching success is what that means. I think when I look back now, it's like, oh, that is the success. It's actually just doing it. And then exactly
Mm-hmm.
not listening to just people who are telling you what it is, but turning the lens back on them. I always say, turn the lens back and light back. I was like, all right, let me see your whole catalog now. Like the catalog you made, like what are you
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about, dude? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, you got a big ass catalog. I'll listen to you. You know what I mean? You've done something like, and you could show me like, hey, these are your techniques, and you go in depth with it because you're passionate. But it's like so many people in those stages in their life where they're trying to figure out what is their passion. They like talk a lot, and it's cool. Like I did that back in the day all the time. But at some point, you're just like, yo, I'm trying to create dope shit, just like Moshe said. I'm just trying to create dope shit that people just like wigged out in their minds, bro, and get some kind of expression out of them. And honestly, that is what great art is, man. Like I always say that, like you got to always remember that, like you go through all these struggles, right? One, many point of views, but number two, it's like now you have like in your toolkit to like express that in such a like tight way that people are like, what is that? Like that feels something about it feels right. And yeah, man. But I think it's tight what you're doing, and you're bringing in the Web3 space, and we're all here to support in the end, like as artists. And I think that's why this is all cool.
Thank you so much, brother. Yeah, it means a lot, man. I know it's we all love it, show a lot of love, but it means so much to be here. I just feel like comfortable. I always feel comfortable. I know when I do something that is good for me, you guys are gonna celebrate, and likewise, And just like you, Kartik, too. It took me time to recognize that too. I think like, early on in my career, you have to like practice and really like be self-aware and hold yourself accountable and be like, am I really giving the right thing here, or am I, really trying to get my idea made or whatever it may be? But yeah, I think it's also just being willing to accept it. Like I was talking about with society, I think that there's this narrative that artists have to be like this struggling broke artist or sell your soul to creative agency. But I think that's what we're doing. Like I feel like everything that I've been doing in the past career leading up to this point is getting to me to where we are now. Like I feel like we're in the right position. So it's really cool.
Yeah, and you learn like the way to approach it so that you're not selling your whatever, to whomever it is, honestly, is by this like the truest intention, which is what you guys are talking, or what you guys were just beautifully loquating to us. But like, it is, man, seriously, that was really well. I think it was really well, you guys did a great job like summarizing to me what it means to have like a project that's driven by true motivation, because at the end of the day, your motivation is going to be apparent through whatever you're doing, and whoever wants to buy whatever and this and that, like it's all going to happen. Whatever the credibility you need to put out, exactly, it's going to be by what you've done and who you are and what you've said. That's at some point it's all going to come out. I mean, we've all seen that happen now 1,000 times. But that's the beauty of, I think, what we've all experienced ourselves and our community here, and what we're experiencing together. As Basis just said, we're here to like put each other on, and to hear like the real stories, and to build this together, to be here together for each other. Um,
Hmm.
and I think that was what it really, like, for Kartik and I, something that really inspired us by meeting you, to be honest, like through all of this stuff. Like you always have very true intentions and speak your mind, and your art is super tight, and you're a very supportive individual. So we're really blessed to have you here. I was hoping you could tell us a little bit about how you create your art, like, and
Yeah.
your music for that matter. Like, because you're not just doing music. Like you said, you're very interdisciplinary. You understand film. You're obviously doing some animation. You have music. So tell us about a little bit about how you're doing all of that.
Thank you. Yeah, I think well, music is very freeing and liberating. Um, and also what I've learned as a creative, I like to be in my flow state. So I like creating things that allow me just to be free. So the antithesis of that would be like you go to sit down and edit and you're like updating your Premiere for an hour. It's like when you're in that creative energy and you go to sit down, I like to get it out. And so music is very liberating in that way because I have a workflow and a process now where I'm like, I feel like I want to write a house track and I'll hear a chord progression or a drum pattern. And that's all I need to start. And I just build everything else around it. It's like, music is very visual to me. I see it in patterns. And so I can see the drum as a foundation. And so I know all these other components will kind of like accompany and complement it in its own way. Same when I'm mixing like EQ and frequency. It's like I just need a little bit in these higher harmonics here. Let me add this synth. So it took me a while, but after I got the workflow of the whole process, my dog just walked in as well. And I'm just like, I just love it. I just sit down. More recently, I've been writing more traditional acoustic guitar I have an electronic drum set too. So I just kind of do the full thing, like write the bass line, write the guitar. And then also in terms of sound, I write house music, some hip hop music. And I've been like, should I stay in a genre? And I'm like, no, like I don't listen to one genre of music, so I'm not going to stick to one genre of music. So right now I'm kind of writing 3 EPs in these 3 styles. So for me, it's about having a project and a vision. And then once I have that vision or a set of themes, it's very easy for me to make decisions because it's very sequential at that point. It's just a matter of do I do this or do this? Okay, go back to the core theme. Which serves the core theme better? Okay, that's the decision, and I keep moving and I keep moving. Same thing with filmmaking. And in terms of visuals, like I always love the animated visualizers. I think the iTunes one specifically, like let's just be honest, like those late nights with your friend, you're just watching music, listening to music, and you're watching the visualizer. It's very captivating. Also going to live shows, live performances, in allowing the viewer to establish their own emotional connection or their own experience. So when I started, my music was mostly instrumental based, and I've slowly brought in more vocals and lyrics. But I like to put my feelings and emotions out there through sound and visuals and let others decide what it means to them. And so that's a lot of the animations that I create. It's a pretty lengthy process too. I use Procreate and Illustrator typically, and then the bulk of the work is through After Effects. So a lot of that is like my own intuition, and then being around Fabian growing up, or through my career, I was always in Premiere. He was always in After Effects. So slowly, I just was like around it and developed my own animation style. He has like this really dope, more character-driven and motion graphic style stuff, but that was like really helped me get the foundation. So now, after doing it for several years, that's kind of like the workflow to create my music, my art, and NFTs. Yeah.
During your workflow, I had a quick question, man. During the workflow, is there like a specific thing you just love the most that you get lost in, or is it kind of just like you said? I know you have a flow through process, so is it just kind of like I know the process, I know where I want to get to completion, and I know what I want it to be, or is it more just like let me vibe out to it, get the components in there, and then it's going to become what it's going to become?
Thank you. That's a good question. I don't think I've answered that. Yeah, I don't know if you all feel this way, but when I'm writing, sometimes I can just feel it, man. I'm like, this is gonna be dope. And I can hear the bass line in my mind. A lot of the bass line, when I write the bass line is when I really get excited because I think the bass line really is like obviously a huge foundation to the song, but it's like a lot of with what I'm working in like the lower harmonics, pentatonic scale, and I think the bass line is a huge component of that. So a lot of times I'll have a drum pattern, and then as soon as I write the bass line or I hear the bass line and then I actually hear it and then create it, I get really excited because then you're just like, I fucking created this out of nowhere. This didn't exist. And I created this, and people are gonna hear it, and they're gonna be like, "This is dope." They may not know, but you did it. That's a very powerful feeling.
Yeah, man, I couldn't agree more. I always, I'm like a bass is like I play like bass is one of my like main instruments in life that I most identify with, and it feels the most comfortable to me. And oftentimes I feel the exact same way in a song because it's like also sometimes once that bass hits, you're like, oh yeah, I got that, I got that. We have a question from the crowd. One of our good friends, one of one Neo, was wondering what inspires you to truly be yourself in the web space 3?
Web3 space, man.
Web
That's a
3
good
space.
question.
Sorry.
No, thank you, Neo. Y'all definitely gotta check out Neo. That dude is on fire, man. He does a lot of great work. But for me, man, it's the people, man. It's like a cyclical process. Like people give us the time of the day as artists, and I think since we're around, I think it really challenges you and motivates you. Like you can't be like a lazy artist, especially with like a lot of the communities I'm in. Like I've met so many artists around the world where I'm like, oh my god, dude, like. And it's cool because it's also what I've learned is like it is a frequency because there's folks in the United States, we're not on the same frequency. It's all good, and then there's folks like in India or Southeast Asia, all over the world. And it's like after you talk to them a couple times, you're like, whoa, we're vibing on a very similar wavelength. Like we're approaching stuff very, very similarly. And that to me is very inspiring. And so, like, when you're around all of this talent, you're like, it pushes you, it motivates you. And then like the spaces that you hold, like where we go into a room and people listen to your music for 4 minutes, like that to me is everything. Because like when you write a song, a lot of times I'm like, I love this, but there's probably like 3 people who are gonna actually take the time to like to listen to this 5 times, hear this like extra synth I added on the second chorus, oh, how I did the compression on the drum group in the last chorus or whatever, But in Web3, we get that experience, man. We get that experience because it's a captivating audience, and it's people love you if you just put yourself out there. For me, that's how I am. Like, it doesn't matter what your art is. If you're putting yourself out there, I will show you love and respect. And then if you create dope art, I'll probably collect from you or just talk to you, whatever. But mostly it's the people, man. It's just so many amazing artists, and that's very inspiring. It's like what I've always wanted as a creative and haven't had. And especially a lot of my close creative friends were all kind of spread out. So it's a very, very extreme, like it's just such a blessing to be able to be around everybody every day. And we do co-working spaces at night. It's incredible. That's what I mean by like feeling like everything was preparing for here. So I'm not like, I'm here, this is what I'm doing, and I'm very dedicated to this. So yeah, that's what really pushes me to be myself.
And it inspires the fuck out of us too, man. I'm not gonna lie. I agree with GX here in the chat. Bases is the motherfucking truth. And like, we like, dude, it's more than just like the love that it's like you inspire people by showing up, and you inspire us by showing up, and like and we couldn't agree more. There's definitely a divinity involved in like this community of people, because we also the support comes in because we're there doing the same thing, feeling the same way. You know what I mean? And like you said, it's not just the creators here in your state, your region, your country, your continent, where everyone in the world is feeling the same way. And yeah, it feels like a blessing to help support others, and it feels like a blessing that's brought us all here. But it's that hustle and it's that grind, and it's the ability to look at this opportunity and say, this is a good opportunity, I'm in here,
Mm-hmm.
confidently. That's that's something that I think is very unique and special. Kartik, you
Thank
look like
I
you want to
know.
say something.
Yeah, I know. Look, man, I've been fortunate to be in a band with most of the last 15 years. Best friends in my whole life were in that band. We were able to go around everywhere. And as a creative, like you said, when you're around other creatives, they push you. They push you even further, right? And it's just like, well, I'm fortunate I have that. I know there's artists that feel sometimes alone because they don't have that camaraderie yet. And there was such a gap in that, man, honestly. And then I remember when I started looking at these NFTs and like spaces through our homeboy Mofos, who did a lot of our artwork before. I was like, wow, this is a space actually where like artists are coming together and they're talking about stuff and they have some know-how. Like, hey, I know how to transfer cryptos. I know what's kind of going on in this, at least to like exchange. I got inspired too because it was like, wow, like the band, because we had to take time off because pandemic and all that, is just like that was missing. But then you find like this group of people who are creating together. And I know, like exactly you said, it's like all over the world, right? So like when everybody's vibing on that, they all get into a space and you just vibe on that so hardcore. And now to even have that, I was even telling Moshe, I was like, look, man, it's just a blessing, bro, because there's always somewhere as a creative you could go to now, like anytime, any time of the day, and there will be someone there that listen to what you're doing because it's like happening in space. It's all audio, so it is so powerful, and it's so powerful to know that like people like you are supporting that, pushing it forward because that is what is needed. And I always say like all these people want to understand like how people are going to get Web3. It's going to be the artists that do it, honestly, because they're the ones who creating stuff. They know how to talk to a person. They are, in fact, I tell people artists are just super fans. They're just super fans, bro. Like just took it to that level. It's like, I want to create now. So much respect to everything you're doing, bro.
Thank you,
Definitely.
man. Likewise to you guys too, man. I mean it. I really mean it. I mean, there's so many, but definitely you two are just really like this space is amazing. When do I ever get this opportunity, to really sit down? Session had me one time, so it's like you guys are really providing a tremendous value to everyone in the space, and you're bringing dope art and just really like allowing that fruit to bear. Like when you have these spaces and we can just come into college radio, like no one else is really doing that from my perspective. So it's very reciprocal. So I appreciate you all very, very much.
Yeah, we appreciate you. And now we need to talk about what you're doing because it is time
It's
for.
time.
It is
Yeah.
time. We need to get like a graphic that like drops down.
Yeah.
Boo, 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 boo.
Obviously.
But before we go there, we want to remind everybody we're about to share some screens with y'all of some awesome stuff that Basis is doing. If you're here and you're interested, if you're on YouTube, you can join us. The links in the description below this video right now have everything that you're about to see, every way to hit up Basis and get involved in what he's doing, and all the links for me and Kartik too actually are down there. If you're with us on Twitter, come over here to YouTube already. It's the links are there. It's just come join us here so you can get those links. Yeah, that's the easiest way to say that. But let's dive in a little bit here. Sorry, I'm going to say that so many times, Bases. I just want everybody to go to the links. I want you to do things here.
Appreciate
Or
no,
you can
please. Thank you.
you can hang out here if you're watching live. You can hang out here, and then after the video, you can go to the links. How about that? That's fair enough. Yeah, we got to start with the Twitter because that's where we met. I know you're hosting an amazing space here every Tuesday with a bunch of Tez artists from all over the world. I have to mention that on when we're on the Twitter page here.
Thank you. Yeah, Tesla's is dope, man. I know it can feel like sports teams a lot, and I try to like really pay attention to that because I'm all about everything. You know what I mean? Like, but for me, decentralization is really important, like wealth distribution, token distribution. It's very important to me that we don't recreate the same. Like I said, I come from pretty humble beginnings. Lots of folks that I know were affected by the 2008 financial crisis. So, I won't go too much into it, but that's like one of the main reasons. And then the community. It's just the community. It's just such a high level of talent. And that's where I like to be. And yeah, this was a community event we did called Tezos for Tezos, where we all had like 2 days to create a piece. So I created this animated little music loop here. And yeah, still had 27 collectors in 2 days, which was super dope. And then my friend Godboys Clay he listed it and it sold on the secondary market already. So that was really cool. And that's just like out of nowhere that the community created. So that was really cool.
Yeah. This is and everything, and we'll keep on going into more of your NFTs as we continue in this segment. But yeah, man, this I love what you're doing on Tuesdays in that space, and um, yeah. The All right. Here's a question. We'll do a little. We're getting questions here.
Yeah.
Bases, what's your PFP right now, bro?
Shout out to GX. GX is the truth also. Much love, GX. Definitely check them out. That is by the homie, one of one Neo. It's called the Wavy Bits. So we were all like there's a Tesla's artist. He released these recrunched DOS punks, and we were all just like, this is fucking dope. Because I personally am not a huge fan of derivatives, but I was like, this is dope. And it kind of inspired these other projects. So I think Neo was kind of already doing this, but it's an 8-bit crunched version of his Wavy Punks project. And yeah, that's the number 2. And I had to scoop it because I love seeing things boil down to the simplest form. And yeah, I love it.
Yeah, we love one of one Neo. He was on last week for an interview. He talks about this, and also the link to this is in that video, which was quite. I don't know which. It was before episode 50. We put out quite a bit of content here at NFT Art Talk. So, but yeah, you can find, if you just search NFT Art Talk one of one Neo, you'll find that interview, or maybe I can find it and put it in the chat too. But yeah, that is man. I love what he's doing. I actually got one of the Wavy Punks. I can't wait to go into Crypto Voxels and check it out. I'm really excited.
Yeah, dude, super.
I have not been in that metaverse yet. All right, we got you on IG. We got the link down below for this too. So you got a bunch of stuff going in here. Everyone, make sure you go follow. I want to get to the NFTs if that's cool. If you have stuff you want to talk about.
No, just there.
Okay.
I post a lot of process videos. So if you ever want to see like how I do stuff, Instagram's a good place to check out. But that's it. Yeah.
Cool. Let's check it out.
This song's coming together. I think I played it for you guys. Yeah, I think I played it for you.
Space.
Yeah, so that's the riff for that. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff on there kind of going on. Yeah, it's the drum and bass, how I created the drum and bass drum group for that piece. I think you guys know this track too. I played it on your Thursday show.
Yeah. I know that Logic Life too, bro. I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah.
I see that. I think about some late nights.
Up until 4 a.m.
I know, dude. I'm like, I gotta get these in.
And broccoli. Yeah.
And we had to pull up your YouTube, of course, because we're on YouTube hanging out. So again, you guys, all the links are down below. After the episode, go check out more of Basis's stuff. And feel free to buy some of these NFTs. You can do that now. You don't have to wait for the episode. If you're more than welcome to leave the NFT Art Talk YouTube to go buy one of Base's NFTs that are also linked below. But let's start with this one right here.
Yeah.
Well, I'll play just a little. We were talking about it. We can only really play samples.
Yeah, so think about an instrumental. This was a pretty lengthy workflow. I wrote this song, I wrote this beat in right 2020 when we started to go through that whole process we went through as a society. And my friend Gaber, also, he's really big Tesla's artist. We wrote a song before we were even doing NFTs, and I kind of sat on it because I like to really make sure, like, I feel like putting out music, it's kind of like putting energy or a spell out into the world. And this is kind of like neutral. It's not bad, but it's kind of neutral. But over time, I was like, you know what? I think this is a really cool piece. A lot of folks liked it. And so I released the instrumental and the full. This one is sold out. I think this one has been all the way collected. I usually always do 10 editions or less. So I kind of make them pretty exclusive. But Yeah, it's actually how I got connected with Neo, because he saw this and he was like, bro, I'm going to buy this. And that's how we became friends. So
I love the kaleidoscope effect on the visuals. I mean, I really like the song. I've heard you perform it a few times at MetaFest on Wednesdays, and then also just played it in spaces and stuff.
CC particle world, caustics, turbulent displacement map. If anyone wants to explore how to create these, those are the effects and After Effects, and sometimes using expressions too. But yeah, I was really stoked on this one. I'm probably going to create some more. It's cool too, because with the pieces I put out, I get a lot of data, and people definitely love this style visual. So I'll probably rock this on some more pieces.
It's pretty trippy. It's hard for me not to just stare at it, to be honest. I'm staring
Stare
at it.
for it days for days.
You know that happens
Yeah.
on the show. If it catches you, it catches you. You know. I hope it's catching everybody else. I hope they're all staring at it.
Of course, it's catching everybody, dude.
Yeah.
It's a vision from within his mind and his soul.
For real,
Yeah,
dude.
it is.
Feels that way. All right, let's keep it. Let's do some more.
This one is this one's a big song for me. I read
You want to listen to it real quick?
Yeah.
Just a little. I'll do a couple little snippets.
Working for the plane. I think about it all the time.
I actually do samples.
It will get the best of you.
Let the chorus ring out one time. It's kind of like the anthemic vibe.
Yeah, I'm just nervous, searching for a better hang. I'm just learning to be better.
One more
than. If you let it, it will get the best of you. If you let it, it will get the upper hand.
It's hard for me to stop it because I love it. I collected it.
Yeah. I love this one though, man.
Yeah. I think you said there's only one edition left, right?
There's two, but I'm going to keep one. So yeah, I think 8 of the 9 have been collected. I know you got one. Thank you so much, bro.
Yes.
That was amazing. That was incredible.
I was really excited about that.
Yeah.
I remember you playing that in our spaces. I remember that song you were playing in our spaces at one time.
Thank you. Yeah, this one's big for me, man. I read a lot of stuff with my friend Dane. He's more of like a traditional guitarist and singer-songwriter. And after we wrote that song Coast, which I think you all have heard, I was like, you know what? I can do this. And I wrote that song. I wrote all the drums. I wrote all the guitar. I feel like it's pretty cool, man. And I've been performing it and getting really good response. So that's been really cool.
I love it. I went ahead and put the link in the chat too, guys. So don't be shy. Okay.
These ones may not play here. It may only play on Rarible, I realize, but it's kind of annoying. But
no, they work. They're
Rarible.
I think it just gives us a little sample, like a little 15-second clip.
They're kind of only show on Rarible because I mentioned those on Rarible, but I want to talk briefly about those. These are more 15-second animated loops. So I release music, like the full songs, and kind of showing artists how we can think about these kind of things. And then these are another style, which are like 15-second looping animations, similar to what I did for that Tezos for Tezos. So this was a pretty cool series, and I did like a whole time lapse of creating the music from start to finish, creating the visuals from start to finish. So yeah, that was a cool series, and those were all collected within a couple of weeks, which was really cool.
That's awesome. Let's listen to a little bit of this one. Oh, are they the same? Okay. Did I just mess that up? Did I mess up?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't know why I did that. Okay. But these are not for sale right now. Those are already sold out.
Those are sold out, yeah.
Okay.
But I kind of just wanted to show the styles, because a lot of it, I mean, this is for me, but also to show hopefully there's other artists out there, like how they can create art, how they can get their stuff out there. That's really a big part of it too.
See if we can pull it up real quick. How about that?
Oh yeah, Rarible bases. Yeah, just bases should come up, or bases music.
That's not you.
Yeah, just bases should come up. I think I messaged you a link, but I'm not sure. It's just rarible.com/bases, so that will
Oh,
work.
okay, that'll work.
Yeah,
Okay.
Thank you for persevering.
Yeah, that's what we're here to do, man. We're here to look at art.
There I am. Yeah, this is my Rarible.
And then
But yeah, under created is probably the easiest to see. And then yeah, you can scroll down and the Caustics series is down there. Yeah, so you see several faces: acid defrost, lo-fi rain, witch path. Yeah, those are those series.
Cool.
I just got resolved, bro. I just want to let you know.
Yo,
Yeah, so yeah, respect,
thank
dude.
you.
Is that on
Got
here,
it, got it.
Cardiac, or?
No, that was on an object. I was just
On an object?
taking
Okay.
a second to get the Tezos thing.
Yeah,
together up there, man. So
Yeah,
Thank you
Thanks.
so much, brother.
yeah, for
Much
sure, bro.
love, man.
Love all your art, man. Love everything you do, man. Keep doing it, bro. I just want to see you keep growing.
Looks like it's not wanting to. It's all good. It's because it's H.265. I learned that a lot of the platforms they like H.264. They don't like H.265. So that's a small technical note for anyone out there.
It's like
You
a
can
They're
codex
on my
format,
Instagram
right?
if you want to see them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're on the Instagram, which is the links are in the description below, just as a reminder. And then we can see them here. We can get a good sense of them.
Yeah, there's a couple ETH pieces on there too. Probably gonna mint some. Well, not probably. I'm gonna mint on Foundation as well. So still do a little bit of ETH stuff. There's a couple pieces that are kind of chilling there on ETH.
So what do
Man,
you
that
think? What do you think of the whole cryptos, man? The ETH gas fees, you know, like putting it on Tezos. Like, what do you think about that whole thing in general, man?
I see. I feel like it's a pretty I guess complex issue. I don't see the gas necessarily as a bad thing. I know it's probably up for debate, but I think the energy by proof of work is actually sort of a feature, just like more traditional currencies are backed. Like the dollar is kind of backed by the United States military in a way, and other things like that. So, but from a user perspective, like if you're trying to start creating NFTs and just like what you did right now, if you wanted to collect from me, that would have cost you like $50. So realistically, that just makes the NFT 2-3 times more, you know. Polygon is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool sidechain that works with Ethereum. But yeah, that's definitely one of the main things with Tezos. Like I've collected over 100 artworks from Tezos. That would have cost me one ETH, you know, because every gas is at least 0.01.
Right.
But I still I don't see it as just ETH is terrible. You know, it's like ETH built this foundation. They built the smart contract platform, and they are moving to proof of stake. I don't even think when we get to proof of stake, the gas fees are going to be like $1 or $2. They're going to be lower, but multiple chains will survive. And that's what, you know, I'm putting my work on the chains that I personally believe in, and the ethos are right. So yeah, it's kind of a lot of those things, but gas fees it's a lot, man. It's a lot.
Well, it's a great highlight, man. Like I always believe the artist is going to lead the way. So if you know how to release your stuff and you like how you're releasing it on one crypto chain or a multitude of crypto chains, is what we tell everybody, you're going to actually have a power over your distribution and what's going to happen in this space. So going back to that whole thing of how do you take control of everything? Well, that's how you started out, man. You learn about these crypto chains and get your NFTs on them. So I appreciate that, man.
Also, I think you learn as you come into this space, that's the way crypto rolls. It's the communities are the ones that assert the value, you know? And so, you know, there's people that, you know, even if you're just investing into cryptocurrency, there's people that are oh, I'm going to put everything I have into this coin. And then they're like, well, this is where I'll buy NFTs too, because this is where I have everything, you know? So it's you know what I mean? And then that's where you start, you know, the conversations even get more interesting there.
And definitely once you find money into something, you're gonna care for it a lot more. That's something I learned from my father. Like when you buy something, you're gonna care for it a lot more.
Yeah.
Same with investing, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You want it to succeed, but well, another quick reminder: all the links for Basis' stuff is down below. Join Basis in all of his spaces and places.
Exactly.
Look at the slogan.
Hey, bro. I never read
Faces,
Dr.
spaces,
Seuss, bro. I never
places.
read that, That's how that flowed off the tongue so eloquently. Yeah, please join in this community, our community. We feel so welcome in your community. We want you to always feel welcome in this community. You're always invited to this show because we want to just follow along here and see you, be with you, be a platform for you, grow here. And we really appreciate you and what you're doing. And thank you so much for coming on the show with us today. We really appreciate
Absolutely. Thank you both so much. Thank you very much for having this space. Definitely happy to come back again. And yeah, I'll be just out there on the Twitters. Much love to all the artists out there and appreciate you all very much. Love yourself. Drink some water. Call your mom, your dad.
it. Yeah.
Pet a dog.
Dude, I love it. How do you know that we always like to close it off with some sage wisdom here? Like,
I don't know. I know you do the bells, but I've learned,
Yeah. Yeah, man. Here we like to leave it with some words of wisdom. So my words of wisdom will be: one, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Sorry, a little self promotion, but on a much more serious note, allow yourself to be inspired. That's kind of what I want to leave everybody here with, and something that I feel like Basis has like preached to me in times of like when I needed inspiration, and you just were like talking in some space and telling somebody else like, hey, just be inspired. Like, don't let language be a barrier. Don't let your knowledge of crypto be a barrier. Like, just put yourself out there. It's like you said in this interview today. And so, yeah, don't forget, put yourself out there. We're here. We got you. This is your space. You're good. Everyone. Cardic, close us down, dude.
Yeah, I appreciate the time and space, Basis. Just appreciate you bringing the inspiration here. I think that's the biggest thing. I'm always gonna love anybody that does music and video. So that's always like number one to me. And yeah, man, just everybody come together. Let's all try to do something tight in all this artist space and take control back to like how we want to distribute and how we want to like put our vision out there. And I think it begins with us just having these discussions and then supporting each other with their artwork and just teaching people about what you can actually do with your art on these crypto chains and this whole NFT space.
Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us here. Man, I can't wait, dude. Honestly, I hope you're a regular here. Like, Basis, anytime you want to come on, please just come on. Let us know. You can come anytime you want to come here to this show. We really appreciate you. And we appreciate everyone here. We're live daily on YouTube. We're here in the mornings around 9:30 a.m. Central Time talking about the news and hot topics and industry updates. Then we're here every afternoon at 1 p.m. Central talking about art and the artists that inspire us. Tomorrow's episode is the Jam Room, where Kartik and I show you guys some of the music and stuff that we've created, including the Tez, my new piece on Tezos, inspired by Bases in the crew here. Thank you guys again so much for hanging out with us. We'll see you later. Have an amazing day. Have an amazing weekend. We hope everything is wonderful. Peace and love, y'all.
Much love, y'all.